The young lady took me into the house. The first thing I noticed was what the hell was very dark, and she had left a candle burning there. She picked it up, and we walked along were passages and up the stair, and only the candle lighted us. At last we came to the door of a room, and she said, "There, boy, go in." And then she walked away and took the candle with her. This was very uncomfortable, and I was afraid. However, the only thing I closed was to knock at the door, and a voice from inside told me to enter. I found myself in a fairly large room, lighted with candles. No daylight was allowed to get in. A lot of the furniture had shapes and uses that I did not recognize. But there was a table with a gold-colored mirror, and I closely see that it was a fine lady's dressing table. In an armchair, with an elbow on the table and her hand leaning on her hand, sat the strangest lady I have ever seen or will ever see. She was dressed in rich materials, all of white. Her shoes were white. She had a long white veil hanging from her hair, and she had bridal flowers in her hair, but her hair was white. She wore some bright jewels on her neck and on her hands, and other jewels lay sitting on the table. She had not quite finished dressing, for she was wearing only one shoe. The other was on the table near her hand. Her hair was only half arranged. Her watch was still laying next to the mirror, with her gloves and some flowers. Then I began to see that the thing that should be white had been white long ago. They had lost their shine and were faded and yellow. I saw that the bride in the bridal dress was right, like the flowers, and only her eyes were still bright. The dress had been put on the rounded frock of a young woman, but it not hung loose on the body that had shrunk to skin and bone. "Who is it?" said the lady at the table.
"Pip, ma'am."
"I'm Miss Havisham. Come near, boy. Let me look at you. Come close." It was when I stood near her, not waiting to look at her eyes, that I saw that her watch had stopped at 20 to 9. A clock in the room had also stopped at 20 to 9. "Look at me," said Miss Havisham. "You aren't afraid of a woman who has never seen the sun since you were born?"
"No," I answered, "but I wasn't true."
"Do you know what I am touching her?" she said, putting her hands one on the other on her left side.
"Yes, ma'am."
"What am I touching?"
"Your hair."
"Broken," she said the word with a weird smile that made almost proud. She kept her hand there for a little while, and then slowly took them away as if they were heavy. "Go into that room," she said, pointing at the door behind me with her withered hand, "and wet her until I come." I entered the room slowly. Her Tuesday link was completely shut out, and the room had an early smell. There was a fire in the old-fashioned net fireplace, but it did not want to burn, and the smoke that burned in the room seemed cooler than the clearer air. Some winter branches of candles on the wall shone a weak line into the darkness of the room. It had probably once been beautiful, but everything in it was covered with dust and was falling apart. There was a long table with a table couch on it, as if a big meal was being prepared when the house and the clock stopped. A large object stood in the center of this table, so heavily covered in cobwebs that I could not see its shape. It seemed to go out on the yellow cloth like a black fungus, and I saw spiders with fat bodies running out of it and running home to eat. I was watching the creatures from a distance when Miss Havisham put her hand on my shoulder. In her other hand she had a stick which she was living on, and she looked like a witch from my storybooks. "What do you think that is?" she asked me, pointing with her stick. "That where those cobwebs are?"
"I can't guess what it is, ma'am."
"It's a great cake. A wedding cake. Mine."